Hey family, welcome to Our Love Works, where we talk about the principles for lasting love. Well, family, I want to share uh, I want to go down a different road with you today. This is Wednesday, and I said in the past that I wanted to talk about, various different subjects. And since this is Wednesday, I think I want to do something that's related to Wellness Wednesday. And so I was in a fast food restaurant. This was way back in the day. I'd say maybe I'd say maybe 4 years ago. I still remember this like it was yesterday because it made an impact on me. And I was in there getting the typical breakfast that I used to get. And I was in there grabbing my little breakfast, and so there was somewhat of a line. So once I ordered my meal, I ended up sitting down, and a little boy ended up coming over, a little young black boy coming over there, and I realized that his mother worked on the other side, and I start playing with him, talking to him, stuff you do to, he looked like he was about 3 or 4, cute little guy. And I noticed every time he laughed, his teeth, he had, these little dark spots like his teeth was starting to rot. And I was like, wow, why is his teeth rotting? But then I was watching what his mother gave him, um, and bless her heart, I'm not blaming the mother, really. I'm just not. She's a young mother. She looked like she couldn't have been no more than about 21, 22. And she was doing the best she knew how to do. So I'm not judging the mother. I'm just making an observation of what I saw. And it just is a segue to what I want to be discussing with you today. It shocked me because I said, well, his teeth are going to fall out anyway, but for them to fall out because of the poor quality of food that he was eating, it just spoke volumes to me concerning what the future of this young man's life might be because of the I'd say the fact that his mother wasn't really aware that the foods that she was giving him was going to have a tremendous impact upon him in the future, but she just didn't connect the dots. And that's a lot of people in general. So what I want to share on Wellness Wednesday today is I want to talk about our children. And I want to talk to you about why are black children overweight, some people might say even fat, sick, and their brains just don't seem to work very well. Fat, sick, and their brains just don't seem to work very well. Well, it's not that difficult, to be honest. It's not that difficult. One of the biggest reasons why our children, African American children, are experiencing more problems, a lot of chronic diseases in our community, a lot of psychological issues in our community, a lot of depression and diabetes, all those issues, is 99.9%. The real cause is it has nothing to do with what you might think. It has nothing to do with racism or anything like that. Now, I know there's going to be some people, because that's what they do. They're grievance types. They can find racism anywhere and everywhere. And true enough, racism, as I always say, it's not going anywhere. So, with that being said, the real culprit here is the diet. The problem with our children being fat, having problems with being ill, and having issues with our brains or their brains not working at its optimum level is primarily because what black folks feed our children, we feed our children an enormous amount of processed food. I'm sure that those of you who are listening to this, if I were to go into your cabinets and I would look in there, I'm sure I'd find all kinds of boxes of cereal. That's just pure sugar. And a lot of mothers, again, this is not I'm not pointing any fingers. I'm just telling you, this is what's causing a lot of the problems with ADD and ADHD, some of the problems with autism, some of the problems with kids with depression, many of the problems that kids are having with high and low blood sugar. They're going up and down, up and down, up and down. It seems like your children are bipolar, but it's just blood sugar dysregulation. A lot of children are having problems with their bowels. They call it dysbiosis, where you have gut flora that's out of whack. You have more bad gut flora than you have good gut flora. Flora meaning bacteria. And then you're seeing all these problems with skin issues with your children, and constipation and bloating and difficult learning in school. They have a hard time with memory. All of these are associated with food. It's all nutrition based. Now, unless you've gone to the doctor and the doctor has taken tests and told you that there are some genetic issues with your child, I'm telling you that the main culprit is all nutrition. What you have is a lot of black people, they feed their children a diet of almost 100%. I would even say that's a little extreme, but I would say at least 70 to 80% processed carbohydrates. A lot of sugar, a lot of bad fats, hardly no protein or very little protein, and the protein they do get is poor. It's not very good. It's processed protein. And the fats are they're just as bad. I call them processed fats. They're really bad, causing all kinds of problems with our children. So those are the culprits. Those are the real issues. So in order to fix a lot of the problems that our children are having, a lot of problems with getting up in the morning, staying focused, concentration, problems that I've just mentioned when it comes to their gut and all the other issues that kids and women are having, girls are having problems with PMS, and it just gets worse and worse and worse. The real issue is you have to take away some things from your child's diet. I've done that with my own grandchildren, and I've seen things just I say their IQ, their ability to read, their energy level, everything has just improved as a result. I will even give you one anecdote when it comes to my grandchild. I have a situation with a grandchild who had chronic nosebleeds, and her nose would bleed probably 2 or 3 times a week. And for the longest time, my daughter had a hard time trying to figure out what to do about it. And so, being a holistic guy that I am, I mentioned to her, I said, sweetheart, well, if you don't mind, what I'll do is, I think I have something that will control her nosebleeds. And you can take it either way you want. You can take it in a supplement form, in a capsule, or you can take it in a tea. Either case, it'll fix the nosebleed. And what it is stinging nettle. It's an herb. It's stinging nettle. It's something that you could get outside. It grows all over the world. And without a whole lot of fanfare, pretty much what I did is I just gave her 1 capsule of stinging nettle. And once I gave her that capsule of stinging nettle, I gave it to her every other day for about a week, and then I let it go. And she hadn't had a nosebleed since. And I think the last one she had, it didn't last long, and I gave her another one shortly after that, 1 capsule, and she hadn't had one since. She hadn't had any problems with nosebleeds, because one of the things that the stinging nettle does is the stinging nettle, it helps to coagulate blood. It's got vitamin K in it, okay? So these are just some of the areas that we can fix just doing what I call self-medicating, as long as we're doing it responsibly and not overkilling. Now, I will say this, with being able to help our children to process and use their brain and to have the energy level and to avoid all of the problems that a lot of our children are experiencing in school, and being overweight, and all of them are coming in to getting involved with pre-diabetes and all this stuff. One of the things we need to do as a family, we need to get rid of the cereals. I mean all of them. You need to get rid of the cold cereal. You just get rid of them because it's going to cause a problem for your child. Number two, you need to get rid of all grains, all processed grains, wheat, rye, barley, any grains, even rice. Get rid of it. You know, grits, that's a grain, that's a corn grain. Get rid of it, right? If you want to give your child something, unless if they're not allergic to it, give them eggs, give them bacon. But I'm talking good bacon, the good stuff, okay? Not something that was farm raised and fed grain, because a lot of cows and of course fish, as well as also pigs, they're given grain, and that's not their natural food. They're not supposed to eat grain, and so it causes problem and adulterates the meat, if you will. So in order for your child to be able to function at a optimum level, you have to eliminate grains from their diet, because as human beings, we can't digest grains. We're not created to digest grains. We're not cows. We don't have 5 bellies. Okay? So we need to eliminate the grains. Wheat, rye, oats, barley, grains. Anything that's grass, seed, don't eat it. All right? Remove it from your child's diet. Remove it from your diet. You'll start seeing a whole lot of benefits. Number two, you want to get rid of sugars. You want to get rid of the sugar. Stop with the sugary sweets and the sweet milk and the sweet apple juice and orange juice and all that stuff. Nope. Get rid of that stuff. You want to get rid of. You want to calm that ADD and that ADHD down. You want to calm that hypersensitivity and that hyperactivity. You're gonna have to get rid of the sugars. You're just gonna have to remove it from the diet. That's number two. And number three, you're gonna have to get rid of the bad fats. Like, you can't be giving your children margarine. Margarine is poison. You don't want to give your children margarine. If you're going to give them anything, especially if they're not addicted, I'm sorry, that's the bad term, not addicted, but they have an allergic reaction, butter, real butter, you can give your child that. Because remember, the cells in the body, the membranes of the cell are made from fat and protein. So technically the body requires fat and protein, those two macronutrients. The body can make carbohydrates, okay? But at the end of the day, if you're going to give your child carbohydrates, you want to make sure that those carbohydrates are what's called comprehensive or complex carbohydrates, vegetables, nuts. Some of the good fats would be making sure you got your child on something like kefir, good cheese that's not pasteurized, things like that. It requires a comprehensive change, basically. I mean, that's the way I eat. That's the way my wife eats. When my grandchildren are here and they always want a snack, so I'll give them an orange. You can have an orange. You can have a banana. You can have an apple. You know, I'm not going to give them pretzels or cookies or cakes or pizzas and all that good stuff. I'm not giving them any of that, okay? At the end of the day, once I give them the real food, their body knows what to do with that. That's real food. That's God's food. And these are the things that our children are experiencing that's causing real issues for their lives. Now, I can go into obviously more detail, but I think you get the idea where I'm coming from. You want to get rid of the grains. You want to get rid of the sweet drinks. You want to get rid of the fats, the bad fats. You want to give the good fats, coconut oil, ghee. You want to make sure they get MCT oil if you want to give them that. You want to make sure they get real butter if you want to give them that. I like Kerrygold, that's my favorite. You want to make sure that you don't give them any of the, like the fried chicken made in canola oil and the fast foods and all of this stuff from you get from the fast food restaurant, and they're using all the bad oils in there. Stuff causes all kinds of problems in the brain, causes all kinds of problems in the body, because those oils go bad once you heat them, and then once they go into the body, it causes all kinds of inflammation. And so you have inflammation building up in your child's body, causing problems in the brain, because that stuff goes past the blood-brain barrier and it starts causing problems with their brain and their issues, and they have a hard time thinking. And that also happens with you as well. So everything that I am suggesting for you to consider for your child, you have to do the same for yourself. The biggest thing, and I'm going to end on this, is that you need to relax with this munching and this grazing where everyone's eating 4, 5, 6, 7 times. That's not the way the body's designed. God didn't design the body for us to be eating like cows. We're only designed to eat pretty much once to maybe twice a day. The less we eat, the better. If you want to keep your skin looking good, you want to look younger than you are, then the less you eat, the better. Not because you're starving yourself, but because your body has everything it requires. It has the macros and it has the micros, the vitamins, the minerals, the amino acids. All right. It has the carbohydrates, the fats, and it has the proteins. Those are given in the amounts that the body requires. You're not hungry. But if you're eating all this bad food, then you have to continue to eat because your body is not getting nourished. So you need to focus on health rather than eating just because it feels good or your body's constantly craving food. If your body's constantly craving, it's because you have not adequately nutrifying the body. So that's all I needed to say today. We're going to probably delve with the subject in the future and go into different other areas on every other Wednesday in this area. So that's my time. I thank you for yours. Catch you on the other side. God bless you.